And then number 10, what do you think our buildings, grounds, facilities need in the future? So I think this is a really good base survey, and then you can change it on the needs for your school. So back to school vision. We've talked about before, there are steps and processes for developing the vision. So there's quite a few, but we'll just start at the beginning, go through. I'm trying to speed things up and cooking things up a little bit, but I talk a lot. It's just a problem. Step 1, review comprehensive data and read best practices. So on your own as an administrator, and maybe have your teachers do the same, look at what data you have, see where you're at, answer all those questions in the book. Who are we? Where have we been? What are our processes? All that. And then know what best practice is, what current research tells us, how to teach, what to teach, what's good for classroom management. Make sure everybody's on the same page with current research. Step 2, bring all staff members together, seat them, and be ready to start the meeting. So this is hopefully at the beginning of school or in the summer right before school starts, but if not, it's fine. Just making it happen at some point is what's important. Review the big picture of creating a shared vision. So make sure that everybody knows what we're working on going forward, what these steps are going to be, and how we're going to come to a vision in the end, and the reasons for this vision. What's the point? What's the big picture? Create individual values and beliefs. So you'll give yourself time, in your own self-time, to work on what are your values, what are your beliefs, and then you can kind of extend that to what are your values about school and beliefs about the school, and have everybody work on their own. Then you'll start merging into individual small groups. I know at my school we like to either sit with grade level or content teams because that's usually what we're talking about, but when it comes to school vision, it really doesn't matter. You can break into different groups you've never been in before and have people be different. Sorry, I'm just checking that my microphone's working. I think it is, so we'll find out. So after you merge into small groups, make sure that everybody has the same, not the same values and beliefs, but see what we have in common, see what we have different, and take those things that everyone has in common, and maybe those can start to be the base for what the values and vision of our school should be. After you've merged into small groups, you'll merge into a whole group, and we can see what each small group came up with. What did they have in common with us? What did they have different? Ooh, do we like that? Do we need to write that down? And see what everybody has in common. So step 7 is agree on the purpose of a school. As we know, everybody might have a different purpose. Sally over here might think that school is just a place for teachers to watch their kids while they're at work, while Jane over here might think that school is preparing our students for the future. So we need to agree based on those values and based on those beliefs what the purpose of school is for us as staff going forward. Based on that purpose, based on those values and beliefs, we'll then develop a quick mission statement. What is our mission going forward, not only in this meeting, but for the school year? Then we can record independent thoughts about vision. So we're breaking back up into separate groups and talking about what do we think should go into this vision? Should all those beliefs and values that we agreed on earlier go in? Do we need to agree on a purpose and have that in the vision? And again, after the independent, we'll merge our thoughts into small group and see what everybody had in common. And again, merge that small group into a large group and determine the school goals, which is our final school vision. We want to include those values, the beliefs, the purpose, make sure it goes along with our mission and shows our school goal for the year, or for the next few years, and connects to what we'll talk about next, which is our school improvement plan. So after we've determined goals, we'll go into staff reflections, make sure everybody agrees on it, and figure out how we're going to implement it, which is next, implementing the vision. So we need to create a school improvement plan that is driven by or with the vision. So by using the data from parents and student achievement that we use to create the vision, we'll also use that to create the school improvement plan. It should focus on curriculum, instruction, assessment, and environment. What we teach, how we measure learning, and how everybody treats everybody. Now, I know when we look at My Vision, it seems kind of hard to relate because My Vision and School Improvement Plan both are focused on parental involvement and school culture. Well, how do we teach and what do we teach and how do we measure that is a little different because when you think of curriculum and instruction and assessment, you think more traditionally of like math or reading. But it's the same. How are we connecting to our parents? How are we seeing that we did connect in the right ways? How do we treat everyone? How is the culture in the school? When we're teaching and how, it's all connected. Even though my vision statement for this project was a little more vague as far as goals go, it still connects. And then you want to review the vision often. Once you've met that goal, once you've met that vision, move on. You've had that foundation, you've built those blocks, pick a new one. Assessing and monitoring progress. So we've looked at what we're doing and how we're doing it, and we know we're implementing. How do we know that it was met? The vision was building upon and changing with the school improvement plan. How do we know if we improved? So the vision is guiding the school in the direction of these goals. So when we've looked at the data and looked at the goals set in our SIP, we know whether they're going to be met or not by evaluating this data. I know that's redundant, but that's what it comes to with this, is we have to have data to support moving forward. When goals are being met or not, it might mean that it's time for a change. If we're not meeting our goal in a year, let's say even if we improved, that's something, but if we just stayed stagnant even though we had a goal of doing something, something needs to be changed, whether that's the vision or the improvement plan or the steps in the improvement plan. Something's not working, it needs to be changed. If we did meet our goal, it's time to make a new one. That's what this is all about. It's continuous improvement, not just stuck on one thing, reading scores, and never moving on. We have to move on at some point, and we can always revisit it in the future. So data and data teams. We talked a lot about data, and it's how you know if you've met your goals. This time needs to be set aside to meet weekly. The book recommended at least an hour a week for your data team to meet. Your data team, who it's made of, is based on what your goals are. If your goals are math related, you're going to have probably grade level math leaders on the data team. If they're reading. If they're maybe culture, you might just have a grade level head as part of the data team. So when we get together, they need to examine the work that everyone's doing. We'll ask what this team's doing, what this team's doing, what we're doing the same, what we're doing different. What did we talk about last meeting? Did we implement it? Is it still working towards that vision? We need to review, again, the purpose of this team, the purpose of the meetings. It's focused on the vision, the school improvement plan, and to look at data. It's not to catch up on anything else. This is sacred time. All time in school is sacred, but this is data time. Make sure everybody's on the same page. When we get new data, it's time to reorganize it in each meeting. We talk about where it goes, what improvement it showed, maybe organize it by grade level, maybe organize it by parent, whatever beats your needs, and establish reports. These reports are going to do a lot. We're going to help to encourage future decisions based on them. So we have this report in one place, and we can see 4th grade did this, and it worked. 3rd grade did this, and it didn't work as well. Going forward, we're probably going to go with what the 4th grade team did, and then we can see, is it continuing to work? It also helps us plan for the next steps, give feedback to teachers. This is why it didn't work. We saw this with several teachers. We know why it didn't work. And follow-throughs. We saw that you did this. It worked. Great job. It helps, which also goes with observing classrooms. If this time is allowed in your school, to see, how are they meeting those goals? in their classrooms. And then, of course, communicating with staff. It's really important that staff know that what they're doing is working or not working. That's the whole purpose of data. If we just give them data, the data team talks about it, and it stays there, nothing comes of it. We have to communicate it back, whether they're doing something that's working or not. So culture and climate. So this is a really important part of every school, and it starts with connections. That's what the culture starts with. And this can be made by including a shared vision. That brings everybody together and makes that connection. Overlapping connections between members of the school community is going to really help. You don't just have this shared vision among teachers and staff. It's not a secret. We let everybody know. We let everybody know what we're working towards. And it helps everybody communicate back and forth. We can always bring up that vision. When a parent is questioning something that we're doing, or a student is questioning something that we're doing, not in a negative way, just questioning, we bring back that vision and show how what we're doing is working towards the vision based on that data, making those connections and always going back to that vision. Beliefs, values, and actions will spread when everyone is communicating with everyone else. So this comes from this source down here, what makes a good school culture. And I thought this was really important because they referred this back to family, and how when everybody in a family, you notice how families all have similar beliefs and values. It's because they're constantly communicating. They're always together. They're doing things. When we start to spread these beliefs and values and communicate constantly with each other about them, everybody's going to start kind of believing in them, believing in themselves, believing in the school, really getting there. Leaders communicate directly with teachers, counselors, students, and families. So we're direct when we talk. We communicate effectively and meaningfully with everyone to know that we mean business when we're talking about this vision. So a vision is a foundation for an effective school. So I grabbed this real quick from the book. I'm going to read it. The ultimate goal of continuous school improvement is to create learning organizations that have the ability to develop their capacity to create and get the results that they truly desire. So we want to continue to improve. We don't just want to improve one time on one thing and stop. As we've talked about, it's continuous. That's why we revisit our vision. That's why our vision isn't stagnant and that it can change. And having that vision, that capacity to create the results we truly desire, is what creates that continuous school improvement. And that continuous school improvement is what creates an effective school. Being able to improve is a huge thing. Having the school vision works toward the school becoming this learning organization. It's data and knowledge and research based. This gives a solid foundation for the school to build upon. It's not just whimsical, out of nowhere vision. Oh, we want, what do we want to do this year? We want better math scores. That's not a vision. We need to have the data and the research to build that solid foundation to build upon. And with committed and engaged staff, we can have committed and engaged students. And I really like this point because it's just so true. Isn't that what we want from our students, is them to be engaged in learning? Doesn't research show that being engaged makes learning higher? You all remember that teacher that you had that was really passionate about what they taught. And so you really liked their class, whether you liked chemistry or not, because they were so passionate about it, so you became committed and engaged in it. That's how this vision needs to be. As an administrator, you need to be passionate with your staff, and you need to be real and meaningful. So, in conclusion, try to wrap this up in 1 minute. It takes a village. Everybody needs to do it, and it takes a lot of time to plan. You have to revisit it. You have to continue to come back to it, and it has to be based on data. You need to assess it. Is it working? Does it need to be changed? And it needs to go towards creating a successful school, which is both meaningful and positive. And that's about it for this. I have my sources on this slide right here. The main one I used was this data analysis for continuous school improvement, and the next one, they're in alphabetical order, but it's those top two that I use the most. Thank you for watching.